Yeah, 17 months, damn. Okay, well, thank you for the resub. That's kind of insane, especially since that's like in a row too. Like, oh, I'm glad you like me that much. I don't know. um, but welcome in, everyone. How's it going? How is everyone? Are you all ready to open some more doors? Hey, look at you get first, Relix. Good job. I kind of want to make a redeem for like just daily login, but I gotta figure out what to call it to be cutely. You just keep forgetting to take off the auto sub. I see how it is. Ugh. But yeah, we're gonna be opening some doors. Have it on this screen because it's the only screen that has music. Because this one's silent. Um, doors. I was looking over the flowchart again for like the different endings. And the safe ending is the only ending that you can get by like going through um door 5 like we did. That is like only an ending we can get through door 5. So I definitely just gonna focus on getting that ending first. And then when we get back to the other side, I'm just gonna let whatever happen based on my own decisions and not based off of a guide. So like if we happen to get that true ending first go, cool, but if not, shrugs. Um but yeah. So got the doors that we need to go through in order to get that safe ending. But then after that, I'm on my own. Keep things fresh and interesting. I don't know. I don't think that's quite right, but say la vie. I guess without further ado. Yeah, C deck, large hospital room. Is it gonna give us a recap like last time?
All right, who's next?
Yep, it's gonna give us a recap like last time. Alright. Episode recap. And this is kind of fun that it does that, because everything else is just like, yep, here's where you left off exactly. Santa's gaze moved across the 3 people left. Finally, they stopped on Junpei.
Junpei, which door do you want?
At last. Junpei's mind was already made up. Door 8.
I think I'm gonna go with door 8. Okay, 8 it is. Yeah. All right then. That means June's got to go through 7.
Rip. Separated from June yet again.
What? Why?
What?
Because math, June. Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it.
Plan A.
Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
Plan C.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors.
Interesting.
You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes. 7-day watch streak. So you do like me. Wow. It's okay though, Catman, that you don't remember. It just happens. Yeah.
Oh no. You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
It's not necessarily that long. Just solve your puzzles faster. I don't know. Now you stream out well. Actually gonna play some more off stream. Fun game. Lots to learn. Oh, nice. I'm glad you're enjoying Slay the Spire. Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side, though, through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed and steeled his resolve and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again.
I mean, you might.
We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now.
True.
I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible.
Also true.
He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered a moment.
You guys are done, right?
Santa, please. He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover?
Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked toward door 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed for door 8. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. Lotus laid her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then shall we go?
It's open.
Yep. Narrow hallway stretched out before them.
Okay.
Hurry!
Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators in their bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. Guys. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met.
June.
You guys have like 9 seconds to get in through those doors.
Jumpy.
Go! They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
81 seconds left. Hurry!
Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead.
Ugh.
Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could.
stopped.
With a shaking hand, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm. Aloof, perhaps.
Pointless.
She muttered to herself, without emotion, and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not very popular with the boys.
Okay, but she's adorable. Counterpoint. Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl.
Maybe pairing these two together was a mistake.
Maybe.
Too late now. I better
Yep.
catch up to them.
After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed.
Ah, it's a dead end.
Didn't mean to cut her off a little. That's okay. The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end.
There's a door on the left, though.
Yep. For a few minutes, they stood in front of the door, examining it. Laboratory. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it.
A laboratory? Huh.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Me either. But there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei,
Huh?
please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect.
Ugh, fine.
Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room, it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him in, and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division.
You know, I think the window looks into another room.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's for monitoring something.
Junpei walked to the window and looked through.
What the hell?
He wasn't sure what else to say. Oh, that's... In the center of a room shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay on what looked like a medical exam table. How's doors going? I mean, we opened a couple of doors.
It looks so creepy.
Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him.
It's kind of like that doll is waiting for surgery.
This is a laboratory, right? I'd say it's more like it's waiting to be experimented on.
Ooh,
It's creepy either way.
True.
You don't think that thing's gonna suddenly sit up or something, do you?
Oh dear. It might, now that you said that, Lotus.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
She was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands white.
Wait, where's Clover?
Good question. She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad.
What is she?
And there was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could, spoke.
Are you okay?
Clover looked away.
What are you talking about?
What? I'm just worried about you.
No.
You've been real quiet.
What? I can't be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. If I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together.
Clover bit her lip and was silent for a moment, when
Junpei,
suddenly...
you just don't get it!
I mean... Her cry took Junpei by surprise, and he stumbled backward a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who just leave me behind! Something happened to him! Something bad.
Yeah.
Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus jolted from her mannequin blah blah blah. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk quickly away.
Hey, wait, Clover! Hold on! That way is...
I told you to leave me alone!
You might as well have been talking to a wall for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway.
Clover, watch out above you!
And without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a portcullis? Huh? Sealing Clover in.
What the heck? What's going on here?
Shenanigans. Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could.
Hang on! I'll get it open!
Oh, for crying out. You'll never do it on your own.
Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The three of them pulled as hard as they could, but...
Damn it! It's not moving.
yeah, it's like they're iron bars or something.
Wait! Are you gonna give up? Just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
Yeah.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Junpei nodded.
Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Oh boy. Okay, so she's in there. Ethanol. Ethanol. I wonder if this is for antisepsis. No, it says anhydrous ethanol. Anhydrous? Is that different from the regular ethanol? Come on, that's common knowledge. Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner. It can even erase marks left by a permanent marker. Interesting. Good to know. A whole bunch of steel lockers. The 9 on the right have all have little red lights on them. Ugh. Red lights, huh? Well, can't hurt to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Loctite, all 9 of them. I wonder if there's anything imported in there. Well, I guess that's all there is. Really? And these lockers are all a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. Well then. Doors indeed. There are cardboard boxes. There's some papers and stuff in them. What's in the boxes? They look quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments, but it's all really technical and stuff. I don't really get it. Alright. This is the computer. The power isn't on. Well, there is a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see a power cable. Oops, yeah, you're right. No power cable. This thing isn't even connected to a main computer, though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, mouse, but that's it. Just sticking the power cable in isn't going to do anything. No, I don't know about that. Um... Alright. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room. No, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. Man, I wonder. This is a keyhole. This looks like a keyhole for the activation key. This is a really old type of keyboard. Alright. And there are 2 levers here. Do you think they activate something? Well, why don't you move one? Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope. Doesn't look like anything's happened. Oh boy, a clock. The hands on the clock have stopped moving. And the clock may stop, but time goes on. No time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff here. I don't know how we could use any of these. Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. The power cable, huh? I'll take that. Yay, power cable. This monitor doesn't have a power cable, so one of this cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Oh, shoot, I can't use this. What's wrong? And this cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. Oh boy, I guess it would've been too easy, huh? Meowza, a 10-stream streak, let's go! This looks like the control for an electronic door lock. There's a red light on the display. That means it's locked. We can get that light to turn green, then maybe we can get Clover back. Okay, silver handrail. Okay. There's stuff here that... Silver handrail, yeah, okay. Now can I look at stuff here? I don't know what kind of table this is, or if part of it is all black. There's a pen lying over here. I think someone probably used it to make the table black. Well, if they only used the pen on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover. Do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back. Go to the tables, yep. Could find something, yep. Could hand it to Clover through the bars. We do. But I guess through the bars is what he said. Okay, Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off that permanent ink with it. What am I gonna wipe with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Kidding, just kidding. Please don't look at me like that. You're scaring me. Okay. So I guess I need to find a cloth, huh? Hey, Clover, there's a door over here, too. Wait, I'll be right there. I can hear her over there. Is this door gonna... damn it. Can't open it. Clover, what about your side? It won't work. I can't even move the knob. Okay, that's not shocking. Use, huh? Soak it in ethanol, then use it to wash off all the stuff from the permanent marker, okay? Right, okay. So I gotta soak the cloth with ethanol. Okay, there we go. Well, she's got the cloth, but she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. Which is ready. I should ask her to get to work on that stuff on the table. Soak the cloth in ethanol and... Junpei! It's working. It's wiping the permanent ink off. Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all of the permanent ink. What's the deal with that drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table. I wonder what this is. There are a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid. I can't see it from here. Clover, you got a pen and notebook, right? Could you write those numbers down and then hand them to me through the bars? Okay. Roger. Sudoku? Maybe. It's actually not that out there to suggest. Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk on here. Paper with numbers on it acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. Okay, wrong thing. The note Clover copied from the stand-in laboratory has 4 numbers written in 9 separate cells. Okay. This is gonna be 9, isn't it? I mean... You know how Sudoku works, right? Three, 2, 4, 1. Looks like a sequence to you. It could be. I have written it down in my notes. Don't know where to enter it, but maybe when we find the thing for, intermediate acid, okay, whatever. Got this goes to the table already, okay. And I wonder what this is. This thing here looks like a voltmeter. And is this controller for that? Gosh, there's so many dials. Why don't you try turning one of them? Nope, nothing. There's no power here, guys. I turned the dial a whole bunch, but... even if I turn all the switches on, nothing happens. Hey Clover, how are the power cables over there? Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. I guess she does have to kind of crouch down to get a good look under there. And the cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of those little metal things. What does that mean? And that's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. Can't take it over to you. Damn it, that's no good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug? Well, maybe more like connector? It's the sort of thing that makes the plug with 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless? Not useless, not useless at all. That's just what we were looking for. Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit? And back down she goes. Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it to you over at the bars, okay? To the bars. Here you go. The two-pronged plug. Thanks. Okay. Put the two-pronged plug onto the head of this power cable. Yay! I'm sure there's more in here though, so let's keep going. Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. Okay. I wonder what they washed here. Are these weird colored stains all over the sink? Something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell were they doing in there? Oh, why is she all quiet now? We're doing experiments on humans. Probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. Alright, I think that's all I can get for now. Alright. I've got the two-pronged power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. Where did the desk go? And let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright. That ought to do it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's going to happen. Why not? Look, it's not connected to the main computer. You never know until you try. Pretty optimistic. Junpei pushed the button on the front of the monitor.
Oh, that worked!
With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen.
What?
He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
Huh? It's running on its own?
It certainly looks like it.
Dog, why? Shut the fuck up. I'm a dog.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right?
Is it connected to a computer at all?
There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Dog, shut the fuck up. Sheesh. Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly, hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
Maybe. We most certainly had not, but...
Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Okay. Good to know Lotus is making big bucks if she's working at a place that has wireless monitors in 2009.
Oh.
At least assuming the game takes place when the game came out, but...
Oh, it stopped.
Pass with a colon.
Pass with a colon?
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Oh. That type of colon.
Again, there must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
Okay.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it, in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left then right.
All right. Let's kick some ass.
Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire.
Wait, what?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words.
Didn't expect that, did you?
What is Junpei wearing? Junpei stuff. You know.
Of course I didn't! You're typing so fast, I can't even see your fingers. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
I'm unemployed at the moment.
Wireless monitors in 2024 are still pretty fancy. Smart TV technically can act as one, but also technically... It's also technically all in one system, what with being a smart TV. Yeah.
I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
I see.
Why?
Lotus blinked.
Huh? Oh, it was just something.
She stopped typing for a moment, and her face fell.
I see.
This is not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized, and quickly shut his mouth. Good, Junpei. Lotus' fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
Oh, what are you doing now?
I'm going to try and brute force it.
Fair.
Brute what?
A brute force attack is... Well, the short version is that I just attack the thing head on. The long version?
Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain.
A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. I'm writing a program that would run an attack like that on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly, but given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do.
Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a beat key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little odd.
Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display? It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it? How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you, all right? So you enter 1 + 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
No, not really.
Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you?
Nope, it's stupid.
Who calculated 1 + 1?
The main computer, right? You said it connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They'd probably think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see the color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Oh, I see. So this wire supplies the power. Eventually, they might even cut the wires. Ah, yes. Just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations.
Oh.
But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that, because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected wirelessly.
Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head.
So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing, really. It's just, I thought maybe, what if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, interesting. So stimulating this part of the brain causes the person to see colors. That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought. Cutting off this part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. See? Doesn't it sound the same? Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts.
Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like it from someone like her. Well, that's a terrifying reinvention of creationism, right? I don't know, I don't really think it's silly, Junpei. Different, yeah. But it's also like one of those things where like, there isn't a way to prove it, but there's also like not a way to disprove it either type of thing.
The brain is just an output device. Human thought actually occurs somewhere else? That's just crazy talk.
Did Lotus really think that, he wondered? It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded all together too much like a bizarre cultish religion.
Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia.
Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued.
If memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere, maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged.
Huh.
I suppose that would explain aphasia and blindsight, too.
Hey.
Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
What the fuck is prosopagnosia? Why do you know so much, Lotus? You said you work cybersecurity.
Wait a minute. What?
You knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV. Blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he had never heard the word prosopagnosia before.
What? You've never heard of prosopagnosia?
I haven't. Lotus spun around in her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
No. What is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces.
Ah, that. Okay. Yeah, face blind to say, you said it there too.
In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair.
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No, I don't think so. Well, you've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same. Even though they've obviously got faces, it's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys eventually, but you or I couldn't unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart.
It's so frustrating having studied aphasia and the language centers in the brain, Lotus being like, well, yeah, maybe it's not that. I mean...
Well, that's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia. Huh. I didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Please tell me you're at the door, Spooky. Yeah, okay. Your definition of face blindness is pretty good, though. Yeah. Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head. It's okay, we know you only have one brain cell, Junpei.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
Alright.
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just a adulting.
Not funny.
I don't know, it's a little funny. Melissa's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind, and I just talked about it to kill time.
She really said adulting in 2009. Yup.
But looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down with the enter key.
Oh, then you finished that brute whatever thing?
For whatever thing. Junpei, please.
I certainly did. And let's see what we got.
Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession. Then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted.
Piece of cake.
Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared to be replaced with line squares arranged in a 3x3 square. Interesting. We already have something kind of like that from a different hint. Just gonna note that down now, because I can.
The screen changed again. What the hell is that?
It's a 3x3 square.
No idea. Looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
No, I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The keyboard. Nothing. So, there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part.
Well...
He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Lotus.
No problem. And make sure you know when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this myself. No more relying on anyone else.
Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen. Oh, I see. This fourth touches your end? Oh. Alright. I solved it. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking. Where did it come from? Oh. Look, Junpei. The lights on the lockers are in green. Though you must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. There's more than one key in here. And this one is small. It looks like it goes to some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. I think the Earth symbol matches a keyhole in the door on the A deck. Well, if that's the case, you probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now, as for the other key. Activation key. It was just at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for the moment, walked over to Clover.
What's up?
I wanted to ask you something.
What's up, Clover?
Hmm?
Junpei, you went into door 5 with my brother, right?
Yep.
Did you hear him say, like, anything weird?
Not really.
Huh?
Why is she asking me this? Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course she would have been worried about him.
Well, let me think.
He thought back to when he'd gone through door 5, hoping he might remember something, even a small something, that would help her. However...
Sorry, Clover. I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention that his hearing exceeds that of a regular person, or something like that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk away.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hmm?
Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but if you don't mind, I was hoping you could tell me if, is Snake, was he born?
You're talking about his eyes?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't born blind.
Oh.
When he was a kid, he got in an accident.
A
A really bad car accident.
Oh, damn.
He couldn't see after that. And his arm.
His arm?
Yeah. My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm.
So it's prosthetic.
The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm.
Damn.
Oh.
Is that all you wanted to ask me?
Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded.
Look, I'm sorry for making you talk about all that painful stuff.
It's not that.
Clover only shook her head and walked off down the stairs. Yeah, Snake has really been through a lot. Damn. This key. The shape sure makes it seem like it goes to this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor is on now. And it's full of letters. Letters? It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. There's a mannequin lying on the exam table. Can't really see it very well from here, but it looks like there are a bunch of electrodes sticking out of its head. This is the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table. Junpei, this thing in here is on now. Yeah, that's because we activated the power over on this side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Okay. Yeah. I'll turn this dial here. Turn. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Well, maybe she missed something. We should ask her to look around the room again. It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer stuff off the cables. I can see the wires inside. Okay. Got the screws to the table already. Okay, sure, whatever. This is the monitor. There are a whole bunch of cables on the table. Mannequin laying on the table. Mannequin looks so sad. Gotta admit, I'm starting to feel kind of sorry for it. It's a wash basin, more commonly known as a sink. And these are the stairs. I just came down. The bars and the gate are just above me. Short flight of stairs. Oh. I guess this drain is for water, huh? Well, there's nothing here. Drain for water. It's been used in a long time, so it's completely dried up. Here I'm thinking I finally found something to click on. Maybe if you increase the voltage? Roger. Will do. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage. Max voltage? Hey, wait, Clover. Oh shit. What? I think, oh my god. The mannequin's head. Oh god. Oh man, that sounds like a fire alarm. What the hell? Fire detected. Fire detected. The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. That's open. Junpei, look at the light. Yes, it's green. The emergency system has activated and disabled the lock. Now we can save Clover. Junpei. Come on, kid. Jump. She's safe. Oh man, that smoke is some serious business. Time to close this door again, I think. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? Cough, cough. Damn, she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Cough. Of course I'm not alright. What the hell took you so long, you big jerk? Aw. He was almost dead. Sorry. I was going as fast as I could. You two can do this later. Right now, we need to get the hell out of here. That fire's not going to stay in that room forever. Out the door. Junpei, Clover, and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, I can read, slamming the door shut behind them.
Whew, thank God we got out of there.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah.
All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clean air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
They nodded to each other, and started off down the hallway. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked.
Damn, none of these open. They're all locked.
How about that one?
And the final door sat in a corner of the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt. The voice belonged to...
Jumpy!
Oh.
Huh?
He spun round. There, at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running toward him. 3 of them.
June? Santa! 7!
They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys! Could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Hey, on the wall.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the nonary game works.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. This leads to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
As one, they all moved back toward the door Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
We're back. In the hospital room.
Like,
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
hi, Ace.
The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory. And then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looked like anyone might, after only just waking up, but it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism.
Yeah,
I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
he shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
Yep. 7 smiled.
Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Here.
7 tossed something small and metallic toward Junpei.
Whoa.
Nice catch.
Jeez.
He caught it and found that the object was the key.
I see. So this is Jupiter.
On it, someone had engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright?
Yeah, on it.
Well, I've got something for you too then. Here, it's the Saturn key card. We found it in the kitchen. I might lose it. It's probably better if you hold on to it. That way it won't be my fault if it gets lost.
Yeah, on it.
And with that, she pressed it into Junpei's hand. He felt slightly less than honored.
So, how many unused keys do we have now?
There's the Earth key we found in the laboratory. The Jupiter key you just gave me. And the Saturn key card from Lotus. I'll keep them safe.
Junpei took the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs...
Wait!
They were the first words anyone heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could. Just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again.
No.
So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh? Me?
Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. It looked like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
That's kind of funny.
Yes, you are.
Alright, let's get moving.
And so, it was decided that Clover, Ace, and Seven would discover what lay beyond door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Seven nodded, as if this answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened, and Ace, Clover, and Seven jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused.
Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
They were at the end of the hallway, lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
I mean... Partly no idea, but of course there's a reason.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled two things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side, like an inquisitive bird, and looked at them. After several long moments, during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So the two keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into two teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you two can search Saturn, all right?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these. So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
The plan decided, the two teams split it up. Junpei and June headed for the elevators.
There's a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right, now how do I call the elevator?
There's a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of, being locked up alone with a boy. Oh, that's so scary. Probably the fact that they can only go down. Like, and she was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D deck, is completely underwater. An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two. E and C.
Interesting.
All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
I think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest, just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean? How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, all right?
But
Come on, just do it, all right?
He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the E button, and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she were trying to make a decision when suddenly...
I'm coming with you.
Huh?
At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap, it closed!
The door had shut. He and June were in the elevator, and was headed down to E deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
The elevator stopped, and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out, and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded. Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously, then exhaled.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
June is silly.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
Don't think about that. Junpei thought about that for a moment.
We'd probably die.
Oh no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. And the first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
it looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
Yep. And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to the C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me. Huh, so you guys found door 1.
They met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors, the 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking.
Yeah, duh.
That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
I think you guys shouldn't care about that right now.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off in the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus's words were all the impetuous they needed. Well, back to the large hospital room they went. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was 7.
7?
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake was... Snake is...
Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, he spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is... dead.
Well, at least you guys found Snake.
He died, just as the 9th man did.
It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. You could feel cold sweat beading on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god. That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed for the numbered 3 door.
Wait! Not that way!
What? Why not?
And they stopped short and turned to look at 7. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as 7 had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
I mean... Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance to his stomach.
Ooh.
He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged. Are they in the ship's morgue? No.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere. A few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked in through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned, and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great Red Sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, where a remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Just like he said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His left arm is fake. I don't remember if they ever described his left arm at all, just arms in general. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Notice his voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. I know that Clover described his left arm, but I don't know if in that scene that we just completed they described his left arm specifically with the ulna and stuff. Like, you're right, there's a chance it could be a fake, but the squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. I can't check the logs, so I can't verify if you're right or not. Every time I put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room, with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn, and then continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake, but he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door, and then 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think.
Makes sense.
Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
Jane seemed shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
No, he's implying that at least 2 are.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei. Was Zero still on the ship with them? On one hand, it would make sense if Zero is still on the ship with them. But, like, also would make sense if Zero wasn't on the ship, too. Like, controlling things remotely. Trying to think if it makes more sense for Zero to be on the ship or not, though. I guess is kind of the question here. I mean, more inclined to say of course than not. Because this is the same publisher as Danganronpa, you know. Maybe it makes sense for the mastermind to be at the crime scene. Looks at Monokuma. Of course he was. That was obvious.
But I don't...
Zero was somewhere on the ship, but Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting moaning noise. Moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
I mean, every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. I started from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? Well, that's possible. That's crazy. No, I think it's more possible than not, to be honest. But, so far everything has been automated, or at least could be automated. But the approach could also relies on Zero either already having one, or being unrealistically prepared for any and every scenario. Yeah. I think it makes sense that Zero is one of them. I wouldn't know who to suspect at this point, but I definitely think it's possible.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason.
No reason. I've got a great reason. And what's that?
The bracelets.
He held out his left arm.
Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to.
True.
It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
You got a point.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the nonary game. All of the puzzles here run all by themselves.
Yeah.
In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why's that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked to the others. It was Santa who answered.
So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
7, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright then. I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right?
Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation.
So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero. Hence, Zero is one of us. 7 and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well.
True.
At least they do if Zero is one of us.
Yeah. No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives?
His motives?
Yes, isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us?
Oh, well, that's because,
Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea.
I don't know.
Keep things interesting. Lotus sighed.
Well, so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei.
In other words, you only had circumstantial evidence.
I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know?
Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him and their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else to look at. Then, in that horrible silence, they heard a bell begin to ring. It's already 3 a.m. They've only got 3 hours left. It was the clock of the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
No, that's what I said.
Then we need to move now. Seven, Clover, Junpei, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
You're right, but
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say and sighed. Seven and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
our next destination is Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
Right. Here it is.
It sat, bolted to the wall near the stairs, led to the casino and kitchen between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do our best.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
I mean, cute, but
Oh. First, we need to find out if the elevator comes up full of water.
Just like we did before.
Oh, here it is.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
Bottom?
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Bottom?
Yeah. Well, let's try it out.
Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end.
Hey, over there.
This is a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found.
Ah, yes, the bottom deck. For bottoms, yes.
There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase.
The Junpei deck, so true.
They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. And now, door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
That means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
Okay.
He did his best to put it from his mind, and headed back to C deck with June.
One, two, three, four. All right, 7 pieces.
The pieces of paper they'd folded up laid on the ground next to Junpei's legs. Everyone had written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Just double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
Like how they decided to vote that way?
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know. Hurry it up, Mr. I have a brilliant idea.
They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. That would allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan that he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the pieces of paper.
All right, let's open these up. The first one says, Ace requests door 1.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No, it's pretty straightforward. Oh, you're number 1, so you want your number door.
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
Damn. He opened the second one.
Next is Santa. He wants door 6.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
Hold up, you can't just call people that.
No, there'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
But,
Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
I am not an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
Oh, so you're a grandma?
Barely.
So, last I checked, that's not a crime.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
Jesus. Y'all.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you!
Oh. Oh dear. Lotus's hair flared out like the mane of an angry lion, and she roared with a voice that shook the
not good.
walls.
Let go! Let go of me! I'm killing him!
With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the sixth piece of paper. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes. I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
Okay. All of the papers, save Junpei's, had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
And this was the door on A deck, near the central staircase.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
And this is the door on the bottom deck, and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship.
Santa and June requested door 6.
And this is the door on E deck, and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
Then the door I should choose is...
It took him less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the seventh piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
And we save and end here. Yeah. If I remember how to button this. There we go. How very exciting. Yeah, so next week we'll be picking our door. Since the plan is to get the safe ending first, we'll be picking door 6 next week. And I think since from there we'll be en route to that ending, there isn't pick another door from there, which makes sense because it's only door 9 after that. I'll probably just go all the way till the ending. We'll be getting our first ending next week at this pace, which is exciting. Yeah. What do you guys think, though? Do you have any thoughts to share with the class? I don't have any thoughts in my head. It's been quite the ride so far. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I was expecting to take a lot more notes than I have, but I haven't really had to take too many notes, which is kind of nice. Background music is kind of loud. Let me fix that. Yeah, I wish I had any thoughts in my head, but I don't. Kinda sad that Snake is dead. You're not convinced that body was Snake's, but we'll see if you're right. When I'm editing the video, I'll pay extra close attention to make sure that, if it was explicitly mentioned it was left arm or not. Okay, spooky. But yeah, let's see. Is anyone else playing this? Nope, just me right now. Okay. Shocker. Really bad stream lag. Okay. I think I'm going to read this person called Diamonde. I might have butchered that. But they're currently doing a merch grind, shorter stream, some art. It looks like they have a couple of Mikus that they're drawing, so that's very exciting. Yeah. They're just one of the people Twitch had recommended to me, so we'll see if that was a good recommendation or not, but their art looks super cute, so I'm kind of eager to see what they're like. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, Zero Escape has been very interesting. Thanks again to Relix for gifting me the game. I do appreciate it. Here's the raid message for you guys to go ahead and copy and paste when we land on DA's page. Yeah, tomorrow we'll be doing some NEP, and I should have my stream schedule up at some point tomorrow, because things aren't totally solid quite yet for Saturday, but that's a later problem. But yeah, I'll catch you guys all next time, be it tomorrow or next week, whatever you are able to join in again. Yeah. Alright, bye bye everyone.